G'day again folks. Well, today I'm going to do the second of these videos, and what we have this time in my collection, we're going to have a closer look at a Lithgow-made, Australian Lithgow-made Lee-Enfield No. 1 MkIII, built at the Lithgow factory in 1915. So here's a closer look at the receiver of the rifle. This is very much a prized rifle in my collection because you can see there, a bit hard to see as it desperately tries to focus. 1915, matching. This rifle is in incredible condition for a rifle of its age. You look down the butt, it still has the Lithgow mark stock disc, as well as the various stamps. So you've got HV for high velocity, meaning that it's set up for the Mark 7 ammunition rather than the Mark 6 ammunition which they started with. 16 there, so it's actually 216, so February of 1916, and then below it has a, not sure, 127, so the guess, I'm not sure what 27, maybe it was re-arsenaled or refurbished at that point. So in February of 1916 this rifle appears to have been issued. It has the Australian, the crest there with the kangaroo and the AC. In 1916 in small digits, or was it 1915? Yeah, underneath. Then it has, I think it's 1MD, so it's 1st Military District of the Citizens Military Forces, the reserves, I suppose they're later known. And you can see various other stamps. That particular one there is sold out of service, but it's been crossed out, so it means that it's been sold from service at one point and then it's gone back into military service, probably for the Second World War. Not exactly sure. Now going forward there, we see the bolt there with the original Lithgow, well it's all Lithgow of course, but the original type cocking piece. We see the magazine cutoff. Now for those who wonder what the magazine cutoff is all about there, you can see early on the whole rule was that soldiers were not to empty their magazines unless they had permission from their NCO or the officers. So what they would have to do, you can see that's the magazine cutoff. You look down there into the magazine where the ammunition goes, of course. So they would load the magazine, then they would slide the cutoff closed, which would hold the rounds that are in the magazine from coming forward and being chambered, and each individual round would be placed there and then the bolt would be cycled and so forth. So with permission, I believe, from the NCO or the officer, they could open the magazine cutoff and use as normal. We can see there some fairly interesting details on the receiver. There's the serial number, of course. You see the X there, the X over the S with the arrows. Well, they would have the S and the arrows there to say that it's been sold from military service, and X means it's been stamped out because it's gone back into military service. Now this has an H, you'll notice there, it has an H, that's for a heavy barrel, and I'll just bear with me a sec. Okay, I've removed the rear handguard and I've turned the rifle around, because what you see there is H, heavy barrel, and you see it has 9.35. And it would appear that this rifle has been rebarreled with a heavy barrel, or the barrel dated September of 1935, and that would appear to be a Lithgow factory job rather than a post-war range shooter's job or whatever. Now we go forward there, and there's the standard rear sight, has a windage adjustable rear sight. So what you see here, again it's hard to do this with one hand, but that wheel there, you see there on the sight, you can actually turn that around. You can move the wheel around a little to adjust. You can see you can adjust for windage. Bit hard to do. A little hard to do. It clicks its way around, and of course you've got the button release for the range. Slide that up there for 10. That's for 1,000 yards. 8, 6, 4 and so on, 200 yards. The other interesting thing that this rifle has, I'll show you in just a sec. There we go, this rifle still has its volley sights. Now for those who are not aware of what the volley sights are, the whole idea was to lay a beaten zone, so a number of soldiers would be able to put lead at a certain distance, some distance away. So you can't really see there, but it goes around to, see 28 at the top there, 27, 26, back to the low 1600. So what you would do if you had to lay a beaten zone at say 2000 yards, you would wind this knob around to 20, if I can see where 20 is. Okay, we'll say 25. So you point the arrow there to 25, see the little knob on the side there. What you would do, down by the receiver, there's the volley sight pointer. Well, that's not the pointer's on the dial. You have this rear. And what you do here, now I'll try and do this with one hand, but it could be a bit tricky, folks, so bear with me please. You'll notice on the end of the dial, on the left hand end there, there's a knob, a small knob that projects. So what you would do, don't think I'm going to be able to do this, you see the eyepiece here, you line that up with the knob, so it's a little hard, a bit hard to see, but you get the idea. So you line up the knob, which you can just see above my thumb there, you line her up through here, and as this for this one, it's at a bit of an angle, you see the angle the rifle is at, and then a group of soldiers would all fire, and you'd put a bit of lead in that area. And apparently the story goes that in 1914, when the Germans encountered the British regulars in the British Expeditionary Force, they were using this type of volley firing. The Germans thought it was machine guns. So there you go. Safety. More of the bolt and receiver detail, the charger bridge there. Now we look down the other side. There's not much on the button, it's just softly starting to drizzle. So what I'll do is I'll go back a little, have a bit of a full look at the rifle. The nose cap there with the piling swivel. In the next video I'll get 3 of my rifles with piling swivels and show you what they do. Now I'll just wind the sight back, and of course we have with it the matching 1907 pattern bayonet, and there's old mate Vegemite. So you'll see here, Lithgow, let's see if we can get around here. Oop, other way. 1915, one way, Lithgow the other, and the crest. So here we have it, folks. Oop, the old camera trying to get back into focus. 1915, heavy barreled, factory heavy barreled. Actually, I'll show you something else. You see on the top of the buttstock, just the wrist I suppose you'd call it, that stamped into the wood you have H. That shows that it has a heavy barrel, and that shows that it's a factory job. And this is the rifle with the bayonet in place. 1915 Australian Lithgow rifle, 1915 Australian Lithgow bayonet. Very close to being the pride of my collection, just edged out by the HT sniper rifle that I showed yesterday. Thanks very much, folks. If you've got any requests, leave me a message.